You're listening to the Talking Wolves fans' reactions for the 24-25 Premier League season.
Wolves 1, Everton 1, and another point on the board for Wolves. 6 points clear now of Ipswich and Leicester, with Leicester having a game tomorrow, but I'd imagine they'd lose away at Chelsea, and with a better goal difference as well for Wolves. That is beginning to look quite healthy. Another point on the board, a plucky performance, a determined performance. Not one that will live long in the memory. It wasn't a classic match. The whole place just felt a little bit flat, but that's been the case for the majority of the season. I thought we were shaky to start with. I thought Everton made a decent start, and they had a couple of opportunities in the first 10-15 minutes. We did eventually settle, however, they took the lead. Obviously, Molineux equalised, which is great. First half in a nutshell, there wasn't that much in the game, not much quality, probably awful for a neutral. However, we managed to go level into half time. Second half, Sarabia was introduced. Now, I've been a critic of Sarabia, but on this occasion, I do actually think he added a bit more link up and a bit more creativity into the game. And him and Bellegarde, who I actually thought Bellegarde had quite a good game today as well, were giving us a little bit more than we had in the first half. And I actually think we had control of the second half, even though they had a very good chance through Beto. But we just didn't have anything in the final third. We were toothless. We ran out of ideas. We didn't actually create that much ourselves. And that's the really, really disappointing thing tonight, because I do think Everton were there for the taking. We could have got all 3 points, but you could just tell they were lacking confidence. They were lacking ideas. We lacked pace. And although I am trying my absolute best to get on board with Strand Larsen, I do feel that he is he's holding us back in some ways. Now, I know a lot of people are saying we're not playing to his strengths, we're not feeding crosses in, but even when we do, I feel that he's a bit flat-footed. I feel like he's a bit immobile, and for a big guy, I don't think he actually uses his body well enough. Now, I know he scored a few goals at the start of the season, but I actually think that's masking over the fact that his lack of movement and his lack of mobility is actually kind of preventing the team from creating, because there's just not enough movement, and that was highlighted tonight. But I'm hoping, he can improve and he can return to some of the form he was in at the start of the season. But yeah, in conclusion, it's another point. It wasn't a classic. It won't live long in the memory. But ultimately, if it helps to our survival this season, that's all that matters. So in terms of good performances, I thought Andre and João Gomez were fantastic in the midfield. I thought, like I said, Bellegarde was quite industrious, and also thought Semedo played well as well, and Agbadou. So some good performances in there, actually. We just need to be a bit more penetration in the final third.
It's finished. Wolverhampton 1-1, Everton 1. Sam Jung back on the channel again to give some key points of how the game went. Get straight back into it. So Agbadou came back into the team, and what a difference he made straight away. If he hadn't been injured the last few games, he would have played instead of Santi Bueno. Who knows what would have happened. The balls that were played in behind from Everton, not long balls in back behind to Beto, and it was a foot race at the time with Agbadou, and he read it so well, dealt with 2 or 3 occasions, dealt with those situations really well, nice and calm. He brought the best out of the players around him. Tosh looked good around him. Doze looked good around him. Agbadou is such a key player, and we've got to keep him fit from now to the end of the season, because that was a real positive. João Gomez, Andre, I thought they were standouts in midfield. They set the tone in midfield from about the first 5 minutes of the game, and then the Everton midfielders couldn't really get near him after that. They won so many second balls in there. I felt like we dominated midfield consistently throughout the game, really. They were winning so many balls. That's one of Andre's best games, I think, as well. He won so many tackles again and again and again. So as a partnership, I was really impressed again by those pair. Larsen struggled, really. There was balls into feet, couldn't hold on to it. Flicks not working. Seemed to be on his heels to a lot of stuff. A lot of fans are getting this, really fed up by me. They're saying, get him off. But we've got no other options at the moment. He feels like he's he's off the pace. I don't know whether he's injured, he's carrying knocks or whatever it is. It feels like he's 100% not at it. And I don't know what it is. I don't know whether Vita Pereira will say something in his press conference afterwards. but there's something going on there because he doesn't seem to be as sharp as he should be. Bellegarde again, really good. Good movement, battled well, turns, carries the ball forward now. He got us into lovely space drifted into some nice space for the actual goal, and then played, obviously, Menezzi, who took his goal well, in fairness. Menezzi had a couple of chances. He had that chance he scored. He obviously had a header as well. It was clear off the line. Apart from that, he was fairly quiet. But, he seemed to be ticking along. He's getting a feel for himself, so not too worried about him. He was praised at half-time by Sarabia. Sarabia, I thought, was really good when he came on. I've criticised Sarabia a lot on this channel, but I thought he was really good. He moved the ball well. He always finds space, Sarabia, in fairness to him. And he was desperate every time he was on the ball. It'd be an option to pass to. He tried to get things moving as quick as he could. Because we did get into the final third quite a bit in the first half, and he would go to like Menezzi or someone or Bellegarde, and they couldn't really get that next pass where we needed someone like Sarabia to try and create something different, really. And I think that's the bit where we missed Kuna. If you had Kuna in the situation on the side there, he's the one that can do something out of nothing, pick a final pass or go past 2 or 3 players, and there's a penalty area, do something different. Juan came on. Tries to run in behind again, tries to do something different. Guedes tries to do something. I thought Guedes was going to have a shocker. When he first came on, there was a push on him when he had the ball, and he played the ball straight to Everton. The players right in trouble, and I thought, oh no, that's going to be his introduction back into his team. But it was a strange feeling today after the game. The atmosphere was pretty good in terms of the second half, I thought. It's a field-goal game. Like we drew the game, 6 points away from the relegation zone now, 7-ish if you use goal difference. And then Southampton away next week. If you can win that game, it's a massive step in the right direction, obviously towards safety. But it feels like a win as well as a draw. I mean, it feels like we could have got more. I personally feel like we could have got more out of the game. It's one of those, Everton didn't offer that much really, and I feel like on another day we could have punished them. But as an overall team performance, I don't think we played too badly. So it is something to build on. Hopefully we go to Southampton next week and get a win there, and I'll kick on a little bit. And I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.
Just back from Molineux, where it's finished. Wolves 1, Everton 1. Feared the worst, really, when we go in 1-0 down, which was a fairly poor goal to concede, really. Agbadou from the back, not really sure what he's trying to do. I think he's trying to find Larson through the middle, who had a really poor game, really. Didn't really hold the ball up, didn't really do too much. But yeah, I think he's tried to find him. Tarkowski's just sort of stepped in, headed it down the pitch, and in typical Wolves fashion, gets a shot off, takes a deflection and nestles nicely for Everton into the bottom corner. And I thought we started the game really well, actually. I thought we were the better team before that Everton goal. And then going 1-0 down, you're fearing the worst and thinking, oh, here we go again. But turned it around nicely. Good bit of play, nice team goal, good ball into Bellegarde. I like him in that more sort of central position. It was tough really to tell where him and Menezzi were playing today, because you'd sort of automatically assume they were either side of Larson, which they were at times, but they were sort of tucked in a lot more than that as well, with Aït-Nouri and Semedo really sort of trying to provide the width, not that there was loads of it. But yeah, really good from Bellegarde, just to sort of get in between the lines. Lovely ball across, and Menezzi, to be fair to him, he's missed a few this season, and well, since he's been at the club the last few games, and I've probably been as critical as most of some of his finishing, but he took that one really well and nestled it into the corner. So and then at 1-1, you're just wondering if we can go on and win the game. Ultimately, it was a frustrating second half, I think. Played some really good stuff at times, struggled really to break Everton down. I think that's been a bit of a theme of our season, really. We saw it with the last home game against Fulham, where as soon as they got that goal in the second half, they stuck 11 men behind the ball, and we just really struggled to break them down. And the more the game got on, the more it did feel like both teams were happy to settle for a draw, really. With us kind of having most of the ball, playing it around. Everton probably had the better chance, to be fair, with Sarr with a really good save when they were breaking, sort of 2-on-2. But yeah, I did fear that one was going to end up in the back of the net, but really good Sarr save, and Andre there to sort of mop up the rebound, which I have to say he was everywhere today, mopping up everything. Probably one of the best performances I've seen from an individual player so far this season. And I know Kuna's had some special moments, but in terms of a 90-minute performance, he was absolutely sublime today. He broke up everything, always in the right place at the right time, never gave the ball away, kept it ticking over, and his movement was really good as well. Little 1-2s, going one side of a player, will go on the other. Just really, really impressive performance from Andre, who I thought was brilliant. Bellegarde I also thought was good today as well. He doesn't get knocked off the ball very easily. He's good at sort of protecting it, especially for not a particularly big player. he's good at getting that ball into feet, protecting it and laying it off and going again. Equally, Semedo up and down that right hand side didn't really do too much going forward, but I think it was tough. It was crying out really for another player on that right hand side. I thought Molineux did well enough today, but he's not a winger. I mean, to be fair to him, he's a central midfielder who's been asked to play all over the place since signing for us in January. But yeah, I thought it just needed another winger on there. Really, I can only assume Rodrigo Gomez isn't fit. Thought Sarabia did okay when he came on, but yeah, we need some pace really in that forward line. That seems to be what we're missing: a bit of pace and a player that can beat a man and get a ball over. So I thought Larson really was poor. His first touch isn't great. Sometimes he has some nice little sort of flicks around the corner for some of his teammates, but they're too few and far between really. And then Hwang came on. I thought Hwang had a decent enough game, but then we just lose that sort of focal point through the middle, which I said Larson didn't do it particularly well, but we do miss a focal point when he's not there. So not really sure what the answer is in that front line. Obviously we missed Kuna in terms of some of his magic and brilliance. Probably a bit controversial, but I thought we actually played better as a team without him. Obviously you're not going to replicate that magic and that chance of just scoring a goal out of nowhere, but I thought as a team everyone worked better. And even going forward, there wasn't just a case of give it to Kuna and hope he beats three blokes and sticks it in the top corner. There was more kind of structure to our play. Yes, second half didn't create that much. First half we had a couple of chances and a couple of shots from distance, but second half perhaps didn't quite create so much. But I did feel that as a team we were better. But that point today is massive. You know, okay, you look at it and go, it's only a point at home to Everton. They've been in good form. Ipswich lost. I expect Leicester to lose / hope Leicester will lose at Chelsea tomorrow. And if you can then go into the next run of games with being 6 points clear and a far superior goal difference, you know, that's 3 wins. Well, that's 3 wins really. The 2 below us, or at least one of the teams below us, would have to get to be able to go above us. And I'll be honest, I'll be amazed if either of them win 3 games between now and the end of the season. And obviously a great opportunity to get 3 points away at Southampton next week, which really we need to be winning. So all in all, I was quite pleased actually. I've seen some real negative stuff online actually since I've been back home, but I thought it was a good performance against a fairly good Everton team. So, you know, I think this team are mid-table. I think we've got a mid-table squad. I don't think they're any better than that. Equally, I don't think they're kind of relegation quality. And no, Everton was certainly not better than us today, especially second half. We were the far better team. So I think it's probably a fairly fair measure of where we're at. But yeah, hopefully that kind of just gives us that bit more breathing space. I think we'll see a bit more expansive football going forward. Now we are hopefully almost safe. So looking forward to the rest of the season.
Just got back from Molineux now. A bit of a weird game to try and, you know, review because I don't really think a lot happened. The first half was typical Wolves really. I thought we didn't exactly start the best. Grew into the game a little bit. And it was kind of all us really, and then they had a couple of chances which they probably should have scored from, and then they get a lucky one off Jack Harrison that finds itself in the back of the net towards the end of the first half, and then you think the game's over because Everton they're good defensively. They don't give you many chances. They don't give up the ball that much, but we've managed to find our way back in from a lovely run from Bellegarde and a good finish from Molineux to take us in 1-1 at half time. And you think build on that second half. He brings on Sarabia to help up front a little bit. But kind of came out of second half, and I feel like it was pretty much all us really, apart from the one chance that they had with Beto with a good save from Jose Sarr. I thought had a good game today. They didn't really trouble us, but to be honest, we didn't really trouble them either. I can't think of a save Pickford's had to make, if I'm honest. I just think we lacked a little bit. I mean, towards the end of it, they were playing for the point, I think, because the Molineux atmosphere was kind of on top at the point, and we were on top of the game. We had a lot of the ball, but couldn't really do much with it, and I think that was our problem today. You know, I think the players have worked really hard today, and I feel like they probably just edged it and deserved to win the game, but we couldn't find the finishing touch. I think I don't really want to pick apart players. I thought Larson was extremely poor. I know people like watching him and think he's a good striker, and I can kind of see where they're coming from. But he's so frustrating to watch. You just want him to hold the ball up or try and just jump and win a header, and he just doesn't. But I'm not gonna focus on individuals, or I am, but in a good way. I mean, Agbadou and Totti were awesome again. Having him come back in, Agbadou, is massive for us, especially with this run of fixtures coming in. I thought Bellegarde again had a great game. Andre, unbelievable. João Gomez was everywhere. I just think we just lacked up front a little bit today. And I know I'm getting a bit sick and tired of everyone thinking it's the Matheus Cunha show, because that can't be good for the other players. I was in Molineux early today and listened to an interview from one of the Wolves people, or it might have been one of the BT people, to Larson. The first thing she said was, "Were you without Matheus Cunha today?" That can't make the players feel good about themselves. Everyone just thinking we need Matheus Cunha to win a game of football, and yet he's dragged us through the season, and I'm very grateful for everything that he's done for us. But it can't do the other lads any confidence having that in your ear all the time. Even at the end of the game, when she's talking to Semedo, I've just watched it back. Without Matheus Cunha today. And what? There's 11 men on the pitch. It's not about Matheus Cunha all the time. I understand he's a great player, and he has pulled us through, but it's not always about him. And I think the lad showed that a little bit today. I know we struggle going forward, but we're going to. Especially second half, Everton came and they sat, and we were feeding them balls that are bread and butter. We always struggle to break teams down. So it's frustrating. It's another point, which leaves us 6 clear. You could say 7 with our goal difference. But yeah, 6 clear going into next week, which is absolutely huge. Southampton away. They are dire, but it would just be a Wolves thing to go there and us lose. I'm getting a bit sick and tired of preying on other teams beating Ipswich and beating Leicester. I just want to win games myself. Hopefully that will come. Hopefully we get 3 points next week, which will be absolutely massive for us, especially if the other two lose. And then we can kind of, not take our foot off the gas, but be a little more adventurous in our play, I think. So, yeah, I'm sorry the review's a bit boring today, if I'm honest. But here we are, I suppose. On to Southampton next week. Hope everyone's well. All the best. See you next week.
1-1 in the end, and it's a result that I probably would have taken at the start of the match, to be honest. It gets us 1 point further away from Ipswich and Leicester, but at the same time I can't help but come away incredibly disappointed by the goal that we conceded, which I felt was a bit unlucky, and then also just the fact that it was probably one of the best home atmospheres that we've had, in terms of the second half at least, since I can remember. Since we probably beat Manchester United at home, and it just felt like the players didn't really respond to it as much as they could have done. Like, we were getting behind the players for the first time in quite some time because we felt like we needed it, and they just slowed the play completely down and invited pressure on and invited Everton back into the game when we were quite dominant in that period, which was frustrating to watch at times. But I think the defence and the midfield just can tell that, like, the forward equality is just not there, and they'd rather just keep the ball for as long as possible rather than try and play a risky pass to the forward or anything like that, which might leave them exposed. I thought Andre today was superb. What a player. I thought Agbadou coming back into the defence, oh my God, what a Rolls Royce of a player. You could stick Agbadou back there by his own, and I feel like he could have cleaned up quite efficiently. I'm at a point now where I'm thinking Agbadou and Totti would make a fine back two, maybe, perhaps, or even Mosquera when he comes back next year. Agbadou and Mosquera in a back four might actually work out, but I'm just concerned about the defensive ability of the left side. René Nori is becoming really frustrating for me to watch personally, just because the ball gets out wide to him all the time, and he has the ability to take on a man like he did for the first goal, which was John Ritter Bellegarde's making. I thought he was pretty good today as well, by all means. But 90% of the time, René Nori will receive the ball on the wing, turn around and pass backwards when we know he has the ability to take on and beat a man, and it very rarely will he get to the byline and put a cross in. And that's kind of Larsson's game a little bit. Like, we're trying to play not to Larsson's strengths, and it's making him look really, really bad to the rest of the fan base. And he's not a good player. Like, I'm looking at him and like with the eye test, and I'm like, the pie charts and everything aside, which make him seem like he's actually pretty good in the air and everything like this. Eye test wise, I'm watching him and I'm just not that impressed. I thought even when Hwang came on, he offered a tiny little bit more than Larsson did for the entirety of the game, if I'm being entirely honest with you. So yeah, I don't think Larsson's particularly in form right now, but I don't think that means that he's like a bad player or anything. I just think that we're not really playing to his strengths or giving him the service that fits to his game. Yeah, we really missed Cunha tonight. Cunha probably would have moaned a little bit after we conceded the first goal and threw a strop, but I think at 1-1, pushing for that equaliser, Cunha probably would have made the difference today and probably would have come away with a win. But like, a point at the end of the day is not the worst result in the world. We have some winnable fixtures coming up still that we need to really take advantage of, to really clear ourselves out of the relegation battle. But we're just incredibly lucky that Ipswich and Leicester and Southampton are all absolutely awful as well. So we're lucky, and we need to definitely reassess things come the end of the season, hopefully that we are still in the Premier League.
It was a pretty strong performance. We dominated possession. I don't remember us dominating possession so much, because we had about 65.8% possession to 34.2 for Everton. We don't usually dominate possession to that extent, but you can see now that Vitor Pereira's stamped his mark on the team. But it was a pretty useful point, because Everton have been one of those teams that have been in good form recently. I saw them live on Sky the other week when they won at Brentford, and Brentford are not doing too bad. So it was by no means a point to be scoffed at. And because last season I went just after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year, we beat them 3-0. Well, I think Dawson, Cunha and Max Kilman got the goals. But today it was a whole different ball game. But it was important also because Southampton got beat 3-1 at Liverpool, although they were winning 1-0 at half time. And who was the other one? Ipswich. Ipswich. They also lost 1-0. So we've pulled a point further away from them. And Leicester also play tomorrow. They are away at Chelsea, who played in Europe on Thursday night. So hopefully Chelsea will beat them and do us a favour. But the nearest teams above us are like Man United, West Ham, Tottenham. I think there's about 4 teams that are 10 points ahead of us. But yeah, so our battle is not so much catching them teams, but pulling away from the bottom 3. Because last time out in the Premier, we got beat at home to Fulham, but this time it was a much needed point. And with the goal difference the way it is, it's as good as another point. Our goal difference is a lot better than the bottom 3, and also our form is a lot better than theirs. And when it's form, winning, losing or whatever it is, picking up points is a habit. So let's hope that we just picked up a point at the right time. It was good to see character after they went ahead against the run of play, and it wasn't so long before we equalised. Bellegarde slipped through Molineux, who took it well. I was just above the goal, slightly to the right, and Molineux squeezed it in when the keeper, I think he got a hand to it, Pickford. I thought it was going to go just wide. Bellegarde had a tremendous shot from outside the box, just wide, in the first half. Larson had a header from a corner. We had a header down from a corner back into the business area, but they cleared it. At half time, it was a bit surprising to see Molineux come off and Sarabia come on. Maybe he took a knock. He must have took a knock because the goal scorer, he was unlikely to have come off if he was fully fit. So hopefully that won't be too bad to keep him out of any future games. But we showed a lot of character. Sarabia came on. He was a bit lightweight. He had a free kick that went into the side netting. We were at the Stan Cully's end, and that was at the south bank, so we couldn't really tell how near that was from that distance. Yeah, as I say, Sarabia was a bit lightweight. Larson, he was also a bit lightweight. The players that stood out were the two in midfield, Andre and João Gomez. They were snapping away. The Everton players didn't give them much or any rest in midfield. Totti Gomez was superb in defence. It was good to see Agbadou back. He was solid as well. And Bellegarde had a good game too. The Doc was fairly solid, although he did give away possession in a dangerous position in the second half. Wang, when he came on, had more running in his legs than Larson. All in all, it was a good run out. Not fruitless. At least we picked up a much needed point. Hopefully that won't be vital in the end, although it is good. Hopefully we'll survive with comfort rather than like last game needing to win or something like that. But we've pulled another point away from the bottom three. Hopefully the bad form of the bottom three will continue. Hopefully Chelsea will beat Leicester tomorrow. So it's we're out the cup now, so we've got to concentrate on the league. So it's onwards and upwards, up the Wolves.